The EuroBasket finale is set as Turkiye will take on Germany in the EuroBasket final. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, the Knicks make a roster move. Is it their last one for the season? And has the Knicks done enough with their roster this upcoming offseason? We'll talk about all those things plus more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host, Derek Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And EuroBasket finale is coming up. It's now officially set as Germany will take on Turkiye on Sunday in Riga for the championship. This is an exciting, and for anyone who's been watching this EuroBasket tournament, it's been a very fun set of games when it comes down to it. They both come in with undefeated 8-0 records, after, their victories in the semifinals. And the thing with this is, coming into this matchup, you got to look at it with Germany and Turkiye and how they're going to face, Germany's just been so good over the course of this EuroBasket tournament. The most points per game. They're in the top 3 of rebounds, free throw percentage, everything basically when it comes down to it. This is a German team that really is built, and probably the best German team that we've seen since Dirk Nowitzki was on the team. And this is not going to be an easy game for either one of these teams. They're both going to play very, very sound basketball when it all comes down to it. If they're going to want victories in these games, and we're going to be able to see Alperen Şengün has been a revelation for Turkey over the course of this season this EuroBasket tournament. But it hasn't just been him, right? You look at Seti Osman, who's played really well and solidly, 17 points in the semifinals game. You look at Osmani as well; he scored 28 points. This is a team that is going to play from top to bottom, but Germany is the same thing. Germany's going to be in this game, and the way that they execute as a team and the way that they rebound as well. Rebound and free throws is something you really need to look at in the finals of this game, but they've also had players that stepped up. Teammates Franz, Wagner, and Tristan da Silva, on this team. Franz in his last game, 22 points. Tristan with 13 points, but Dennis Schröder, 26 points. And, Dennis Schröder, when it comes to international play in this type of level, he's probably going to end up making it into the Hall of Fame off his international play alone. That's the type of player that Dennis Schröder is, and he's been great again, in this tournament for Germany. And I'm really excited about what this matchup can bring for either one of these teams. It's going to be a fun matchup. And both teams have played sound. They've had role players step up. They play really tight basketball, and they both are really locked in as the team side of these things. And they got to get it done. Germany had its 98-86 victory over Finland. Turkey's game was basically a blowout. They were up by 31 points at one point. It is what it is. But I think when you look at it, Turkey's defense is really the thing that stood out a lot in that matchup with Greece, right? Forcing Greece to 12 turnovers in just the first 20 minutes of the game, which they then turned into 17 points. They only committed 2 turnovers themselves, did Turkey, over that same span, which Greece only got 2 points off that time. And so when you look at it at halftime, Turkey was up 49-31 when it came down to it, and they never gave up the lead at all. So this is going to be a EuroBasket final that I think is going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I think people are going to be locked in for. And I think everybody's in for a show when it really all comes down to it. And this is going to be a fun finale to watch. And I know a lot of people, this has really been their first time watching EuroBasket for the whole entire tournament. And I'd say this, I hope this turns on people to the EuroLeague as a whole, and to realize that there's really quality basketball that's played all over the world. And it's not just in the NBA where you can get quality basketball. Of course, NBA is supposed to have the best talent of the pool, right? But there are some really good, and you can see what could be your next set of high draft picks over from Europe as well by watching EuroLeague. And I think when you look at the players that have really stood out so far in this EuroBasket tournament, you look at Kamal Baldwin as well and what he's done. In fact, he was a player that went undrafted in the 2020 draft, right? And what he did for Georgia and being a guard for that team, putting up 12.3 points, 2.8 rebounds, 4 assists overall as well. He scored 24 points, went 8 of 10, as well as they upset France. He's had a really good one. John Roberson, as well as had a really good tournament also. Some of these Sylvian Francisco's had a really big season stepping up as well. All these guys, funny enough, some of those guys have made the NBA, some of them haven't. So I hope that this does a good job at opening up the mindset to basketball outside of just the United States and the NBA, because I feel like people will find that there's some really good quality basketball out there that can be watched, that can be viewed at any point in time. But I'm really excited about what this EuroBasket tournament is going to bring. Alperen Şengün has had himself such a good tournament. Some really big seminal moments as well in this tournament that he's been able to have. The matchup with Jokic and stuff like that, like having really big games. And while EuroBasket basketball is very different from from the NBA basketball, just being able to see the way that he has commanded stuff. And the Rockets are a team that's going to have a player step up. Yeah, they brought in Kevin Durant to come in and be Kevin Durant and be a player that can score for them kind of outside the frame of the work of the offense when everything breaks down. But having a player like Alperen Şengün take the step up that he's had in this tournament is going to be big. And, while I say that there are players to watch this other than players that play in the NBA, I will say this is that it could do a lot to turn heads and new eyes to it, with the fact that you got two of the more up-and-coming players that are going to be in the final of EuroBasket for Americans to, want to tune into this. You got Alperen Şengün, you got Franz Wagner, you got those two guys on each one of these teams. They're not the only names. Like I said, you got a player like Cedi Osman, who was an NBA player, Shane Larkin, who was an NBA player who's had a really good term. So some of these names are going to be familiar to some of these guys. Korkmaz as well as a player on that Turkiye team, right? But on Germany, like, you got Tristan da Silva as well. Some names that people at NBA would be or have heard before, and that could be a barrier of entry for them. Again, I'm not saying that's the end-all be-all, but I do think as you're looking to turn new people on to where you are, those are things that can help in that. And we'll see if more people tune into EuroLeague as well, right? But with that said, the Knicks have also signed Malcolm Brogdon to a one-year deal. Now, the Knicks reportedly are going to have to do something to kind of figure out that last roster spot on their team. But Malcolm Brogdon, I think this is a sign of players just being tired of waiting for the Golden State Warriors. Brogdon was one of those players that were reportedly waiting for them to figure out what was going to happen with Jonathan Kuminga and potentially sign with that Golden State Warriors team. He flips it now. He signs with the New York Knicks. And I think while the Knicks didn't have major changes, you look at Brogdon now coming in and being able to be a player that can do a little scoring, defend. Of course, he's not what he once was, but still a player that still has, a lot to give to a team. And I think now, being in that bench role is going to help. But they also added Yabusele, who I think is going to help as a role player. Jordan Clarkson, a player that can easily score 15 to 16 points coming off the bench for them. The Knicks haven't had some of the huge overhaul that some people wanted to see from this Knicks team, even with bringing in Mike Brown as the head coach. It's kind of more of an even kill move for them. But I think they've made they've made right decisions for what they want to be and what they want to turn into. And I could never be mad at that. So I think those things are really good for these teams. And I think that the Knicks are going to be, of course, they're one of the favorites in the Eastern Conference. They're going to be competing to win 50 games, if not more than that. And Malcolm Brogdon is going to help with that. But I think this is a bigger kind of stamp on the fact that Jonathan Kuminga, who now reportedly is strongly considering just signing the $7.9 million qualifying offer with the Golden State Warriors, has really held up what the Warriors offseason is going to look like. Now, DeAnthony Melton's still a player that reportedly is going to want to sign with that Golden State Warriors team. Al Horford is willing to do that. But I think if it gets to a point where Al Horford decides on retirement over signing with the Golden State Warriors, it's crazy how much the Warriors offseason has really been tied up by a player that they haven't committed to. They don't commit to playing consistently, and that a resolution just hasn't been found in this. And so we'll see. But they signed both Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet. Reportedly, they're going to try to find a way to keep both those guys. It's probably unlikely when it comes to it, but we shall see what happens. And then lastly, before we get out of here, because I don't know if you can do a basketball episode without coming up with something with the Kawhi Leonard thing. While we've heard that the initial $50 million investment that was made by Steve Ballmer, which is fine, it looks like another $10 million investment was made by Steve Ballmer as well to Aspiration in March of 2023. That was after his initial $50 million investment as well. And so it seems like that came at a time where Aspiration was losing a lot of cash. They were already laying off employees. They weren't raising funds. They were already basically dead as a company. So now you have another investment from Ballmer and Dennis Wong, which we've already talked about, his $1.99 million payment to Aspiration, which then $1.75 million of that was rerouted to Kawhi Leonard. This is ugly. And I continue not knowing how the NBA is going to walk away from this without making some type of level of punishment towards the Los Angeles Clippers. But hey, maybe that's just me. You guys can let me know how you think it feels down below. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you guys are so amazing. Make sure you're following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related. See you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.